Shalom, shalom, Israel. This is your brother Yazarok, coming back at you with another cold cut. Of course, giving all praise, honor, and glorification to Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Amalek Yahushai, by Hashem Kwakadash. Right, that's to say all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, who the world calls God, and Yahushai, who the world calls Jesus Christ. Right, Lord willing, I'm gonna start coming at you with a Bible series called Bible 101. Right, we're just gonna be going through the basic, the milk, the bread, maybe a little bit of meat. Right, breakdowns of chapters. Right. Going into different diverse topics, right? And Lord willing, I can start pushing these videos out for those that, might have been in the truth for a little bit, but need more precepts or understanding on certain topics and chapters, and for those that are just coming in the truth, right? Because when you're just coming into the truth, and you're not going to try and go into the deep breakdowns, right? Brothers talk about all the time. You don't want to go into Revelation, try to understand what's going on, right? You don't want to go into Second Esdras. You just got your Apocrypha. You try and break down Second Esdras 11 and 12. You try and get into Daniel 7 and 8. Trying to understand what the beast are and who the he-goat is and stuff like that. Hey, the Lord said you gotta get the milk, right? Let's get that in. Let's get that in Peter, right? You gotta get the milk first. This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, and verse number 2. It says, "As newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby." Right? So it says, as newborn babes desire the sincere milk. So when you a babe, you a baby in this thing, you just came in. You're not going, when you have a kid, you're not going to feed him steak or chicken, right? Something that they can't eat. Whether babes have milk, right? So you got to understand the basic things. You got to walk, you got to crawl before you walk, right? You got to walk before you run, right? So when you crawling, that's you getting the milk. When you start walking, you got the bread. Now when you start running in this thing, hey, now you got the meat, right? Now you can understand the deeper things, right? The deeper understanding and dark breakdowns of parables that's going on in the scriptures, right? But for first, you got to understand the basic things, right? Let's go to the book of Hebrews, right? The book of Hebrews. Got the precept. Chapter 5 and verse 12. Slakia. The book of Hebrews, chapter 5 and verse number 12. It says, for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. So when it says, for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles. We know the first principles and oracles of God is the law, the basic understanding, right? The initial precepts. These are the basic things, the basic oracles of God, the basic principles that you want to understand before you can understand anything else in this truth, right? You know you Israelite, that's the very first thing, right? Then understanding you have to keep the commandments, that's the second thing. Once you understand those two things, then you can increase in this thing, you start to understand more, right? Let me get this in Psalm. The book of Psalm, chapter 111 and verse number 10. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And we know the fear of the Lord is when what? You keep his commandments, right? That's how you show that you love the Most High God, and that's how you show that you fear the Most High God, right? We're going to get a precept on that. For the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endure forever. So it says a good understanding have all they that do his commandments. So when you do the commandments of God, this is how you get a better understanding on things, right? When you keep the laws, statutes, commandments, then wisdom is going to be in your favor. And that's when the Lord's going to bestow that wisdom and knowledge and understanding unto you. And that's when you can increase in this thing. That's when you can understand the more in-depth breakdowns and understanding that comes with this truth, right? But for now, we got to stick with the basic things for those that are just coming in this truth. Those that may have been in this thing, but they just need more understanding and more validation and more precepts on certain things, right? So the first topic we're gonna cover is that, because we see a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters. We teach out here in Philly, right on Market Street. See a lot of brothers and sisters that be with the damn enemy, right? That be with white. When we see brothers that be with Moab and Chinese women, right? And the Lord said you gotta stick with your own people, right? Let me get this precept. Let's go to the book of Tobit. chapter 4 and verse number 12. Right? It says, beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife. So this, when you read Tobit, you understand Tobit's son Tobias, he's about to go to Raguel, right? And Media and Rages. He's about to go out there. He's about to link up with his uncle, right? And he's about to get his wife Sarah. But this is the information, this is the precepts, the understanding, and the wisdom and knowledge that Tobit is giving to Tobias before he takes his journey. One of the main things he tells him is, my son, chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and not a strange woman to wife. So he said, take a woman of the seed of thy fathers, which is who? Another Israelite woman, right? Don't take a woman of the strange nations. Why? Because those women are going to take you and make you go astray from the truth. That's why the brothers and sisters that be on the street, when we try and call out to them, they don't want to listen. Or if we do talk to them, they always ask, what about her? Or what about him? Excuse me, right? Because why? They want to save the heat. They want to be with their people. Well, they don't want to be with their people. They want to be with the enemy. They want to be with the strangers, right? The Lord said through the mouth of Tobit, chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe. For we are the children of the prophets, Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even they all married wives of their own kindred, and were blessed in their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. Right? So you want to stick with your own people, right? You want to be getting down with these other nations. Why? Because the Lord said, though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be punished, and every one that should be found shall be thrust through. We're going to get that precept. That's Isaiah 13 and 15, right? And then we're going to get the law on this thing too. The book of Isaiah, chapter 13 and verse number 15. We'll start at verse 14. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, and they shall every man turn to his own people, and every one into his own land. So when you read the context of Isaiah 13, we understand that the Lord is prophesying, well, Isaiah is prophesying the downfall of Babylon. Not actual Babylon, but we understand Babylon is representative of America today. So he's prophesying the downfall of the burden of Babylon when you read Isaiah 13 and 1. He's talking about in the last days what's going to be going on. It says everyone's going to turn to their own people in their own land, right? This is what? This is a prophecy that's going to be about race wars that's going to be going on in the end. And if you look in the earth right now, how even when Trump was in office, even to this day, how you can see the racism of the pot that's been stirred, right? And you can see people that now it's blacks versus whites. We run into people all the time talking about, man, them damn crackers, right? Talking about the white man, right? We see people that are separating and going with their own people even to this day. How much more when hell really starts to break loose on the earth? People aren't going to start mixing in. A black man not going to go to Chinatown, right? And try to fit in with them. They already want to be secluded. That's why they got their own town. Moab don't really rock with Jake like that, right? They were with their own people. So the Lord said in verse 15, it says, every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So the Lord said, if you're joined unto these heathen, if you're joined unto these other nations, whether it be with marriage, or that's just your best friend and you don't want to let them go. We've been best friends since we was kids, since we go back to sandbox days, whatever the case is. Lord said, you're found with them. Hey, listen, everyone that's joined unto them shall be thrust through. So you want to get together with your own people anyway, right? When you see the oppression that these other nations put on us, you see the way that they treat us, the way they look at us, the things they think about us. Why would you want to be joined with them in the first place, right? Especially when you come into this truth and you understand what all these other nations have put us through. There's no reason for you to be wanting to join hand in hand with these nations anyway, right? Let me get Proverbs 11. Proverbs 11 and verse number 21. It says, though hand joined in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered, right? So you can join hand in hand with these enemies, but you're not going to save them. At the end of the day, the Lord has judgment set up for every nation, whether it's Elam, Moab, Esau, Ammon, Ham, or the Canaanites. Hey, listen, the Lord has a judgment set up for every single nation when you go through the prophecies. Chiefly when you read the major prophets such as Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. When you read the book of Amos, the first 3 chapters, first 2 chapters, you see the Lord has judgment set up for all these nations. So because you're joining hand with these nations because you're in the truth, hey, listen, the Lord said there won't go unpunished at the end of the day. So you want to get together with your own people and you want to be able to be saved in those days and not thrust through because you want to be joined into all these other nations, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach. Actually, let's go to the book of Ezra. I want to go there first. We're going to go to the book of Ezra, chapter 4. Slack, chapter 9. And we know that during the time of Ezra walked the earth around 458 BC is when he returned to Israel, right? When he turned to his land out of the Babylonian captivity, right? Which to actually build up the temple of Israel, right? Which was commissioned by Xerxes, right? So this is the book of Ezra, chapter 4, Salakia, chapter 9, and verse number 7. We're gonna go down verse number 10. It says, "And now, O our God, what shall we say after this? For we have forsaken thy commandments, which thou hast commanded by the servants the prophets, saying, the land unto which ye go to possess is an unclean land, with the filthiness of the people, and the lands with their abominations, which have filled it from one end to another with their uncleanness." Right? So when the Israelites went into the land of Israel, the Lord told them it's an unclean land. Why? Because who was dwelling there? The Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, all these nations that the Lord said he's going to drive them out, right? And these people were occupying this land because this was the land of Canaan before Israel went on the conquest during the time of Joshua, conquered that land, and then it became known as the land of Israel, right? So the Lord said that it's an unclean land because of the dwelling inhabitants, right? So it says in verse 12, "Now therefore give not your daughters unto their sons, neither take their daughters unto your sons, nor seek their peace or their wealth forever, that ye may be strong and eat the good of the land, and leave it for an inheritance to your children forever." Right? So the Lord said, don't give your sons to their daughters, and don't give their daughters to your sons, right? So you want to join into the heathen because we understand that why we said it before, they're going to make you go astray from the commandments, from Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, right? And from this truth, right? And it's going to make them become unclean. That was part of the reason. That also happened when you read the book of Nehemiah, right? So it didn't only happen during the time where Ezra came back. It happened throughout history, right? That's why it had to be a law, and we're going to get that in Deuteronomy 7th chapter, that we couldn't get together with these heathens, with the certain heathens, right? Matter of fact, let's get that right now. Let's go to Deuteronomy 7. Then we're going to go to Nehemiah, Lord willing. Right? When you read Deuteronomy 7th chapter, the Lord gives a strict commandment unto Israel of what nations you cannot be joined with, right? This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 3. It says, Salagia. It says, well, we're going to start at verse 1. It says, "When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess, and hast cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them, and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor shew mercy unto them, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor thy daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly." So the Lord gave you the 7 nations that our people cannot be joined with, right? But we understand it even goes deeper than that, right? These nations were purely abominable, and they were already dwelling in the land. But it gets deeper into all the other nations that you can't be joined unto, right? Let me get that in. We're going to get First Ezra out the Apocrypha. First Ezra, the 8th chapter. verse number 69. Right? Because like we said, we see a lot of brothers, a lot of sisters, and guess who they with? They with Esau, right? Out of all people, the people that literally raped, robbed, and murdered your people, got this land, put you in slavery, buck broke your men, raped your women, gave you children for alligator bait, put cats in, ripped open the child out of the womb of the mothers, put cats in and stitched it back up. These are the people that you want to be joined unto. The same people that did these things to your forefathers and foremothers. These are the people you want to be joined unto, right? That's asinine. That's ridiculous, right? This is the book of First Ezra, chapter 8 and verse 69. It says, the nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and Levites have not put away from the strange people of the land, nor the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit, of the Canaanites, Hittites, Pergashites, Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites. For both they and their sons have married with the daughters of the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land. And from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity. See that? So the Lord gave you other nations that they started to join with, and it said it defiled the holy seed. Right? Let me get this one precept real quick. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse number 3. It says, give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation. Right? What's profitable unto thee? Your women, your men, your seed line, period. Right? Why? Because your seed line is what keeps that royal bloodline that's within Israel. It keeps it going. So when you give your daughters and your sons over to these other nations, it defiles the seed, chiefly your women, because we understand the man carries the seed. If he lays down with a woman of another nation, that and they bring forth and the woman conceives, that child's still Israelite, right? But now you're mixed in because you're joined with it, because now that's your woman, and now you're joined into that covenant with that woman, and now you can damage the whole seed line, or you can become corruptible through going astray from the Lord, right? That was Solomon's problem. People think Solomon's problem was that he had 1,000 wives. Solomon's problem wasn't him having 1,000 wives, right? It was the fact that he went off and now he started worshiping these women. He bowed his loins unto women. Let me get that real quick in Sirach, right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 47. And I'm going to start at verse 13 and I'm going to jump down. It says, Solomon reigned in a peaceable time and was honored, for God made all quiet round about him, that he might build an house for his name and prepare the sanctuary forever. So during the time of Solomon, we know we had about 40 years of just quietness, right? It was peace on the earth, right? Verse 19. Well, I'm going to start 18. It says, by the name of the Lord God, which is called by the Lord God of Israel, thou didst gather gold as tin and didst multiply silver as lead. Here's the point. Thou didst bow thy loins unto woman, and by thy body that was brought into subjection. Thou didst stain thy honor and pollute thy seed, so that thou broughtest wrath upon thy children and was grieved for thy folly. So we understand that because Solomon bowed his loins unto all these women, he started making high places for him, houses for him, words. Essentially, he was going off because he was making idols for these other women, right? When you read in First Kings. So when you understand what Solomon was doing, he was bowing his loins unto women, right? Let me get this in Proverbs, right? He was giving his strength over to the women that he was dealing with. That was the issue with Solomon, right? This is the book of Proverbs. Again. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31. Salakia. Yeah, I thought so. 31 and 3. It says, give not thy strength unto woman, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. So the Lord told you, he told him, don't give your strength unto women. We see what happens when Solomon gave his strength over to women. He started to bow his loins to him, and that's what stained his honor, right? That's what made him go off, because now he's essentially worshiping the women that he's with. And we know that he married all types of women, right? It tells you Zidonians, Edomites, and all other different nations, right? That's why when the Lord told through the mouth of Tobit to Tobias to do what? To get a woman of thy seed, right? Of your fathers, right? Let me get Sirach 26. Because you don't want to corrupt your seed, right? We're a royal people. We're the Israelites. We're God's chosen people. Why would you want to be with a heathen, right? When you look at the royal families that you have, the quote unquote royal families that you have in what's called, I don't even know, but Germany, England, Britain, and stuff like that. Whatever the case is, these royal families, they don't go marry whoever the hell they want, right? Is this one man, was it Prince Harry, something like that? He married the one girl that's so-called black, right? That was the only person in history to do that, and they don't even live over there no more, right? They left because all the criticism and all the hate they were getting from damn Queen Elizabeth, that wicked Edomite Queen Elizabeth, who killed the other queen, whatever the hell happened then, right? But all that stuff happened. He's the only person to go off and marry somebody that was really not of that seed, was not of the royal seed, right? Because why? They're not going to stain, or they're not going to pollute their royal seed. So Israel's the same way. We have the best looking women, the best looking men, right? Amongst everybody. So why the hell would we want to go and join with the heathen and bring them into the congregation, right? That's off. So the Lord said that you have to take for you men, take a woman of thy fathers, of the seed of thy fathers. And sisters, you do the same thing, right? You go find a good brother in this truth that comes from one of the 12 tribes, right? You got 12 tribes. As the sand of the sea, we got the most people out there in general, right? But you want to go find a heathen, right? Somebody's seed who is very weak, right? And the Lord said that Esau is small among the heathen. So out of all people, why would you want to go get with them, right? It's off, and it's a sin, right? Let me get this in Sirach. The book of Sirach, chapter 26 and verse 20. Start verse 19. It says, my son, keep the flower of thine age sound, and give not thy strength to strangers. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field, sow it with thy own seed. So it's not literally talking about finding a seed, right? Going and planting it, right? It says, when thou hast found a fruitful possession, that's talking about a woman, right? A fruitful possession through all the field, out of all the people on the earth, right? Well, not all the people, but all the women within the congregation of Israel. It says, sow it with thy own seed, right? When you find that woman that's fruitful, that's for you, right? And in all contexts that you go throughout the Bible, right? A godly woman, sow with thy own seed. Mean lay down with her, right? Sow with thy own seed. So what? It says, trusting in the goodness of thy stock, so thy race which thou leavest shall be magnified, having a confidence of their good descent. So it says, so that thy race may be magnified, right? So you get with a woman, you lay down with her, Slakia. You have a child, it says, so that thy race may be magnified, right? Showing you that race, for one, is in the Bible. Two, and so so that your generation, so your nation in general may be magnified, because now you're having kids. That's the first commandment that the Lord gave. Be fruitful and multiply, right? So you want to make sure you're getting with your own woman, right? You want to make sure that you're getting with your own men, right? The people of the seed of your fathers, right? Not of a strange nation, right? Let's go to Nehemiah 19. I'm sorry. Let's go to Nehemiah 13. 19 and verse number 25. Keep saying 19. Nehemiah 13, verse number 25. Slakia. Nehemiah 13 and 25. It says, and I contended with them. Now we know Nehemiah, during the time of 444 BC, he returned to Israel to build the walls, right? And he brought, people with him in X, Y, and Z. He was a cupbearer during the time of during the Achaemenid Empire, or the Medo-Persian Empire, right? So this is him coming back and trying to set everything in order, because we know that Israel's still wilding out, even coming out of the Babylonian captivity and giving commission by Xerxes to return, right? Through Ezra, through Ezra and Zerubbabel. So Nehemiah returns, and this is what he told them. He said, and I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain one of them and plucked off their hair and made them swear by God, saying, ye shall not give your daughters to their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations there was no king like him, who was beloved of God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin, right? So you get with these other nations, they'll cause you to sin, right? Let me get this in First Ezra 4, right? You get with these other nations, and that's one thing with women, with brothers and women. We know the lust demons as all-time high all the time, right? So these women will make a brother, make you go off easy, right? And vice versa. A brother make a sister go off, right? So by the same way Solomon stayed in his honor because of women, hey, that thing could easily happen to you, right? Let me get to this in First Ezra. It says 4, I believe 26. On the second Ezra, so I can. God. First Ezra chapter 4 and verse number 20. Let's start at verse 25. It says, wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother. Yea, many there be have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished and erred and sinned for women. Right? So it says many have run out of their wits for women and sinned for their sake. Right? Damn near everybody been in that situation. Right? Except for Yahweh Bashem Yahshai. Right? Or Yahweh Shai. Why? Because women is just a stumbling block for a lot of brothers. Right? So you wanna be purging out that lust demon, but moreover, again, when you find a fruitful possession in all the field, you want to sow with your own seed so your race can be magnified, right? But you don't want to go and find a strange woman to marry, right? You want to stay within your kindred, within your stock, right? Let's go to First Ezra 8 and verse number 84. The book of First Ezra chapter 8 and verse number 84. We're going to get this again. It says, therefore now shall ye not join your daughters unto their sons, neither shall ye take your daughters unto your sons. Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them, that ye may be strong, and eat the good of the land, that ye may eat good things of the land, and that ye may leave the inheritance of the land unto your children forevermore. Right? So again, you want to stay away from the heathen women, heathen men, and you want to stick with your own kindred, your own stock, and your own race, right? So with that, I'm going to close out giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Mashiach like Shai. Lord willing, this video was edifying, and we can continue to push this series out week by week, and brothers and sisters continue to get edified through the Spirit. With that, Kwam Yashala.